The future has a language of its own, and it will belong to the new bilinguals. Not just those who speak two languages, but those who speak human and AI. It is a language of opportunity, a language of new possibilities that will transform the way we work, create, and grow. This language of progress will help businesses keep pace with the future that rewards those who adapt and advance. It is a language of hope, advancing scientific discovery where every interaction builds deeper understanding. This is our partnership with all Singaporeans, not just to build the tools of tomorrow, but to help an entire nation become fluent, to empower a new generation of Singaporeans who will speak the language of progress, from Singapore to the world.
What a great way to open the event! A very good afternoon and welcome to Google for Singapore. I'm XX, representing the communications team here at Google, and it's my privilege to be your MC today. First, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Minister for Digital Development and Information, Mrs. Josephine Teo, US Ambassador, Dr. Sinha, and to all of our distinguished guests and partners, thank you for joining us today. And not to forget, all of you watching online, thank you for streaming in. 2026 marks 19 years since establishing our presence in Singapore, and we are proud to have been a partner in the country's extraordinary journey as a global innovation leader. Looking ahead, the spotlight turns to AI in Singapore's next chapter, and at today's Google for Singapore, we will unveil new commitments to strengthen Singapore's status as a global R&D hub, as well as initiatives that will ensure that every Singaporean is equipped to lead and succeed in the AI era. To start us off, please join me in welcoming Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Alphabet and Google, Anat Ashkenazi, to share a bit more. Anat, please.
Thank you and welcome to Google for Singapore. It's great to be here and be in this wonderful country. I've had a chance to walk around a little bit. You have a beautiful country. And I would like to welcome Minister Josephine Teo and US Ambassador to Singapore, Dr. Sinha, as well as our distinguished guests for being with us here today. This is my first trip to APAC in my capacity as Alphabet CFO. And about a year ago, I had a chance to meet with the EDB in Mountain View to talk about the opportunity in this region. And it's really exciting to be here today and see some of what we talked about become a reality. This region is setting the pace for the rest of the world. It's home to the largest concentration of developers on the planet who are building the next wave of innovation. And AI adoption here is soaring. In fact, when it comes to using Nano Banana to generate images on Gemini, this region accounts for 6 of our top 10 markets globally. You might have seen this viral trend taking over social media recently. I was inspired, as well as the team here was inspired, to create an image of what you see here behind me. It's the figurine of myself that you see this on the screen. It's a very nice tool. But it isn't just about the adoption of technology. It's about the tangible, real-world impact. In the time I've been here, I've had the privilege to hear from our teams on the incredible work that we're doing. For example, partnering with regional companies such as DBS and Grab as they use AI to generate real business value and offer better services to their customers. Supporting the development of the Sea Lion model with AI Singapore to ensure the benefits of this technology are inclusive and accessible to everyone. or collaborating with FairPrice to transform the retail experience for supermarkets for Singaporeans, which you'll get a chance to see when you walk outside in our sandbox. The potential for AI in APAC is undeniable, and so much of this progress is driven by right here from our hub in Singapore. There is a reason this country has been our home in the region for nearly 2 decades. Singapore takes a thoughtful, pragmatic approach to building the future, and it's setting the pace for the rest of APAC. The country's vision is long-term, which is consistent with how we run the business. Whether it's cultivating world-class talent, pro-business policies to attract global investments, and constantly pushing the lever of technology to achieve the national vision for AI. It is a unique combination that makes Singapore the perfect environment for us to grow, invest, and impact the region. Because of that strong partnership, we have been proud to deeply invest in Singapore over the past years. In 2024, we announced we already had invested $5 billion in our technical infrastructure in the country across 4 data centers and cloud regions, and we continue to build on that momentum. We recently brought our core research capability here with the opening of Google DeepMind Research Labs. Innovation through research and development has always been at the heart of how Google builds for the future globally. That's why we've invested in the brilliant talent and teams who make innovation a possibility. Today, we're doubling down on that investment and strategy right here in Singapore. Building on the momentum of Google DeepMind, I'm proud to announce that we're significantly expanding our R&D footprint right here in Singapore. We're investing heavily, growing Google human capital in the country, which means scaling our specialized teams across software engineers, UX design, research science, and strategic focus to expand our cloud engineering team. Our goal is to build deep, local research capability that can serve the region and work in partnership with Google teams in the US and elsewhere to develop and export world-class technologies across our platforms. By investing in the talent today, we're ensuring Singapore remains a critical part of Google's long-term innovation map. This expanded investment is a reflection of our deep belief in the country's leadership, helping to solidify Singapore's role as global R&D hub and to advance innovation together from Singapore to the world. Building the technology is the first step. The real impact comes from partnerships. Today, my colleagues will share how we're partnering with all of you to build a future that is beneficial for society, robust for the economy, and safe for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Anat, for the inspiring welcome message. As Anat mentioned, the real impact of technology is realized through the partnerships that we forge with the community. To show how we are applying AI to solve society's most pressing challenges and to build a future-ready workforce, please welcome Country Managing Director of Google Singapore, Ben King.
Hello everyone, welcome to our second Google for Singapore. You saw a photo up there on the screen from our first. This is our second. It's wonderful to have you all here. Minister Teo, it's wonderful to have you back at the office as well, again. And US Ambassador Dr. Sinha, thank you also for coming. Now, 19 years ago, when we launched a small office here, we saw a nation with ambition and a really clear vision. And today, that ambition is stronger than ever. It's allowed Singapore to become a nerve center. It's allowed Singapore to become a lighthouse for the region. And it's allowed it to become a hub that helps Google and other companies reach more than 4 billion people across Asia Pacific. And now with every nation working to evolve in the AI era, Singapore's making significant strides in that space as well and is emerging as a global force. Now, we've been fortunate enough to witness firsthand the unique synergies and ambitions of this country. The way that the government comes together with industry and the community to work in lockstep to solve big challenges, but also capture the opportunities of the moment. And it's for this reason that our journey has never really been about investing in Singapore. It's been about building with Singapore. It's about empowering Singaporeans today for tomorrow, and then taking the best of what Singapore has to offer and sharing it with the rest of the world. And we believe that the strong foundations that we've built here in this country, it puts us in a leading position to take our partnership with Singapore to the next chapter, where we can work together to weave AI into the very fabric of the nation. Now, to achieve this, we're focusing on 4 key strategic pillars. And I'll cover them really quickly, and then we'll share some announcements that cut across each. 1, using AI to solve society's most pressing challenges. Number 2, building a future-ready workforce. 3, driving innovation for growth. And then finally, creating a secure ecosystem here in Singapore, but also across the region as well. As I said, I'll be covering a few announcements across the first 2 pillars, and then I'm going to hand to some of my colleagues who will share a range of different announcements spanning the final 2. So first, let's look at using AI to solve society's challenges. Now, AI is accelerating scientific progress, and it's being used to tackle humanity's biggest challenges in ways that we could never have previously imagined, from detecting disease to enabling better crisis response or cutting carbon emissions. And for us, there's no opportunity more urgent, but also more profound than in healthcare. I think top of mind for everyone is how do we live, more longer, more healthier lives. Now, AI is already helping us detect diseases like diabetes and breast cancer with greater accuracy, greater speed. It's also fundamentally compressing the time for drug discovery. And that's happening in real time here in Singapore. Actually, researchers at A*STAR and the National Neuroscience Institute, they're using DeepMind's AlphaFold technology to accelerate the fight against Parkinson's disease. And it's work that could really impact millions of lives. Let's see what it looks like.
For centuries, humans have relied on tools to help us see what makes us us. But to truly reveal the secrets of life, we must look much deeper, at something 10,000 times smaller than a human cell: proteins. While studying SNP1, a protein that we suspected was being attacked by autoantibodies in some patients with Parkinson's disease, we needed to understand its 3D structure. Mapping a protein's 3D structure has been notoriously difficult since the earliest attempts in the 1950s, requiring experimental methods like X-ray crystallography, which were very time-consuming and very expensive. This is where AI tools like AlphaFold have changed all of that. All we had to do was type in its amino acid sequence, and there it was, the predicted SNP1 protein with over 90% proven accuracy. This allowed us to visualize where the autoantibodies were binding to it and potentially disrupting its protective role in diseases like Parkinson's. This would normally have taken us several months to model. Using AlphaFold, we got the same results in just 1 day. This finding is now helping us and our research partners at the National Neuroscience Institute to better understand how Parkinson's disease could be detected and how we can shape new therapeutic strategies for our rapidly aging population. With AI helping us accelerate research, we can more confidently solve some of society's most urgent challenges and shape the healthcare future for Singapore and beyond. And all of this from just seeing one single tiny protein.
What we saw, it's only the beginning, and that's why I'm excited to announce that we're deepening our partnership with AI Singapore to support the development of the country's first foundational AI health model. Now, we'll work with AISG to fine-tune MedGemma, our open model for medical understanding, so that it reflects Singapore's unique healthcare context. What makes MedGemma so powerful is that it's truly multimodal. This means it can understand medical text, data, images all at the same time. And with this tailored model, medical partners can build their own AI solutions, such as tools that can read clinical notes and x-rays just like a doctor would. And this will help doctors improve the speed and accuracy of a diagnosis and design more effective treatments. Now, the long-term vision is that we would deploy inter-agency AI agents that can bridge the gap between clinics, hospital networks, and national agencies to really proactively coordinate patient care. And we're doing this with privacy built fundamentally at the core. All local data sets, they're managed by the health clusters. AI processing happens within their system, behind their own firewalls. So the data is always safe. Now, with this diverse multi-ethnic population and renowned research expertise, we truly think Singapore is the ideal environment to really pioneer these solutions and then pave the way for other countries to adopt over time. But we want to do more. Building a healthy future isn't just about treating sickness. It's also about being preventative, which is the central ambition to the country's Healthier SG initiative. Now, we want to focus on something that is a national passion, and that's food. We all love to eat. I know I like to eat. But we also know there's no perfect diet. What works for you may not work for me, and it's dependent on a range of different things, including one's own gut health. That's why we're partnering with local health startup Amelie to pioneer a precision nutrition program. Here's how it works. By combining Amelie's deep database of Asian gut health with Google's AI, we can now map out our unique microbiome profiles. But that data, look, it's only useful if it becomes actionable. And that's where Gemini really steps into play. It's acting as a personalized health coach by mapping your lifestyle habits with your microbiome profiles and translating that into simple, practical nutrition advice. So instead of getting a generic recommendation, like eat more fiber, you get a tailored nutrition and lifestyle suggestion that will work with your body and towards your own goals. Now, to bring this to more people, we're exploring a collaboration with our healthcare clusters and health agencies as part of a wider precision nutrition program. So now I want to take pause and I want to move to the second pillar of today, and that's building a future-ready workforce, something that we've been passionate about for a long time over here at Google. Now, there's a lot of conversation about how AI will change the labour market. It's an important topic. And in Singapore, changes are already happening. But to be perfectly honest, there's a lot to be encouraged by. Almost 7 in 10 workers are already using generative AI. And it's saving the average worker almost 21 days a year. Almost 21 days a year in productivity. But this opportunity, it can't just be reserved for the few. At Google, our commitment has always been to empower every Singaporean for the future, regardless of background, regardless of age, regardless of stage of career. Now, while we have a bunch of updates for you today, it's important to note that we're not starting from scratch. Since 2020, we've empowered almost 350,000 Singaporeans for the digital economy through our skilling programs like our High Touch Skills Ignition SG or our AI Cloud Takeoff. Now, we kind of started this responding to the needs of COVID, but we've continuously evolved our approach based on the nation's changing requirements and the changing opportunities that we see. And we've seen really profound impact across a lot of people's lives.
How are you? 5 years ago, I was in university getting a degree in biomedical engineering.
5 years ago, we were still in primary school.
We were building tools and systems to run our own restaurant efficiently.
And we wondered if AI could help unlock these doors.
My mom suggested I try the Skills Ignition SG traineeship after I struggled to find a job during COVID. Then thanks to the program's Outplacement Hub, I went from actually being unemployed to loving my career.
My pharma internship sparked an interest in data analytics, leading me to enroll in the Google Career Certificates course. The programming languages and the technical concepts on the course led me to where I am today.
When we joined the Google for Startups Accelerator, our mentors helped us prototype solutions that we have brought back into our business.
At first, we didn't think coding was something we could do, but the 6 weeks course at the National Youth Tech Championship run by IMDA and Google Cloud helped develop our AI and coding skills.
And now we're
Champions!
Google's AI Cloud Takeoff gave us much needed structure to optimize our innovation pipeline. We've since brought to market a number of Google Cloud innovations that are now used worldwide by our business.
For Singapore to become the world's incubator for great ideas.
To create meaningful roles that didn't exist before.
Where we use tech to help the community and the planet.
To become mentors who can change someone's career trajectory.
One of the best things about this job is seeing the real-world impact that programs like this can have. The team and I that work on it, we get a lot out of it. We really do. But, we know things are changing fast, and we need to go even further. We need to get technology in the hands of as many people as possible, whether it be students, whether it be job seekers, whether it be working professionals, entrepreneurs, seniors, and more. And that's why I'm really excited to introduce Mula AI, our bold new commitment to fuel the nation's next wave of growth. Now, Mula AI is a comprehensive program. It's made up of a range of different initiatives spanning every segment of Singapore society, ranging from high-touch programs like Skills Ignition right the way down to things like Gemini Academy for every Singaporean, including our seniors. Now, there's a range of different initiatives I'm not going to touch on today, but we'll continue to invest in them. They're going to continue to be important for us. But to broaden our reach and impact, we're adding some pieces today, specifically targeting youths, targeting educators, and then also targeting professionals. First, we're enhancing Skills Ignition SG. I actually had a conversation with Minister Teo last year, and we discussed the need to build a workforce of bilingual AI talent, professionals who are fluent in AI and can apply it to their own discipline. Now, in response to that need, and in partnership with INDA, it's great to have Chopong and Kieran here. Kieran was the original partner on Skills Ignition. We're launching Skills Ignition AI Challenge. It's a new accelerator. It's focused on helping professionals build more interdisciplinary AI capabilities. And we're going to start by targeting 500 graduates and professionals. We're going to train them to integrate AI into non-technical roles like accountancy, HR, legal, sales, and marketing. We're also going to provide them with resume building and also interview workshops. And then top candidates will also be given the opportunity to apply for relevant roles at Google. So really trying to make people job ready. Now, moving to our next announcement, it's also important that we engage very young. If I think about AI, for Singapore's youth, AI fluency is going to be as fundamental as math was for me when I was growing up. And that's why we must start now to equip them with the knowledge to build with it. Now, to do that, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, we're building Google AI Living Labs. Now, inside these physical labs, you'll find experiential zones dedicated to training hubs, sandbox environments where students and teachers can learn about the latest AI innovations and they can co-create with it. In fact, we've just co-developed and opened our first living lab at ITE College East. It's wonderful to have Vonnie and the whole team here to celebrate with us, and we're expanding that to Nanyang Polytechnic very soon, and then a range of other institutions. The goal is to reach 50,000 Singaporean students and educators with these living labs by 2027. If I was to put it simply, we're bringing the future of AI right to the heart of the campus. Look, we're incredibly excited about the future Singapore is building here. Realizing this vision, it requires an entire ecosystem, industry, government, and educators. And we're incredibly grateful for the partnerships that we have across. And we're incredibly committed to playing our part in this journey with Singapore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben, for that enriching keynote. Now we'll play a video on how we are partnering with enterprises to drive innovation in Singapore.
The Singapore story has always been one of innovation. Always pushing for progress. Always redefining what's possible. As Singapore continues picking up the pace with AI, we're proud to help write the nation's next chapter. From smart cards with in-store navigation, to a wine sommelier that helps host the perfect parties, daily living just got smarter.
Why we exist is to make every day a little better for our customers. And while we do that, we go easy on the planet. In that journey, Google is a great partner for us because they share not just our cultural approach, but also our desire to solve these issues for our customers.
Gemini is helping journalists halve translation times, accelerate their research, generate graphics, and more.
The digital workplace of the future will be defined by human-AI teaming. The tools are no longer just repositories and communications, they are active participants that personalize workflows, anticipate needs, and provide a constant productivity boost.
Enhancing service quality starts with the DBS Customer Service Officer Assistant, built on Google Cloud's Customer Engagement Suite. Selling online is now easier with List with AI. Gemini processes multimodal inputs to populate listings instantly, delighting buyers and sellers alike. MOE's Glow app has enabled fast and accessible professional development for teachers. As Singapore charts this next chapter of AI, Google Cloud is here to help build it.
To share more about driving innovations for growth, please welcome Mo Abdullah, Vice President of Customer Engineering for Google Cloud Asia Pacific. Mo, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess we all love AI until it starts making pictures of ourselves and we get a little more critical. It's lovely to be here with everyone, and I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to share this next chapter related to growth. Now, if you think about what Ben and Anat and everybody described, is that the opportunity for AI is as big as it gets. In fact, the work that my team and I do is try and find ways to capture this opportunity by converting this amazing innovation and technology into business outcomes and transformations. If you ask me what happened in the last year, I'll say that we in Singapore and in the region have gone way past the idea of experimentation. In fact, I will say that this is no longer about incrementality. The type of work that's happening is transformative. It is fundamental to the way we are changing experiences, the way we solve problems, and the way we create. The examples that we saw from DBS, Carousel, MOE, and many, many others is simply a sample, an inspiring sample. And it's inspiring because it goes to that sentiment of transformation. Now, if you think about it, these types of innovations, the scale and the speed they're going, tells you something. It cannot be done alone. It has to be done through a close partnership and collaboration and co-innovation between the technology providers and the institutions that are building those. This is exactly why I'm absolutely pleased on behalf of the team to share and announce the arrival of the Google Cloud Singapore Engineering Center. It's been quite a year or so since Anant met in the making. This team is multidimensional. It will include world-class software engineers, UX designers, as well as, of course, support experts. That enables us to think about delivering the full life cycle, not just one dimension of it. This team is not only going to partner with our global engineering folks, they're actually going to work in the front lines with all of you in this process of co-creation. Now, somebody might think, why Singapore? Why did we put this in Singapore? Well, for those of us who had a chance to live and work here, there are many, many obvious reasons. But amongst them is the fact that Singapore is not just a regional hub or one company and other. There are profound examples where Singapore has actually become the headquarters for some of the most visionary multinationals. The innovations that we've seen come from one place has not just had impact in Singapore, but has had impact in the region and in the world. This is exactly why DeepMind chose Singapore as its home, an announcement we made a little earlier, to place some of these researchers. The researchers, I have to say, are now here. They've been working. And to give you a flavor of the type of thing that they're doing is enrich our Gemini models with important aspects. For example, cultural nuances. When you think about safety filters, what might work in a place like Singapore versus Indonesia or the world. The ability for us to actually bring in work around audio conversions, nuances with sentiment and tone and dialects in this very rich environment that we're in. That work is already happening out of Singapore and impacting all of the Gemini users worldwide. Now, the other thing is when you co-locate engineers in a place, you get two important benefits. The first, which is critical in the age of AI, is speed and velocity. We may have been thinking about technology in the past in annual or multi-month cycles. But if you've been watching what's happening in AI, every week there is some form of announcement that has a profound impact on society and business. And enterprises want to be able to take advantage of that very quickly. By co-locating engineers, we can collaborate in a faster manner. The second is what I call precision in execution. So this isn't just working engineer as an engineer. When you start to do peer collaboration and you get to the depth of understanding what works locally, you start to build better product roadmaps. You start to build things that don't work just for a local context, but they also work globally. Those benefits are at the heart of the innovation I described earlier. In fact, when we think about this, experts working locally couple it with some of the leading edge technology. Today, Singapore houses our core infrastructure. Google is built on TPUs and AI models. It's also built on developer tools such as Vertex and anti-gravity and others. Bring that in, bring in the expertise, think about compliance and residency rules and so on, and you have the type of innovation that you would get from a company such as Scantist. Scantist is a graduate of our Trailblazer program. They started with the idea of how do we secure applications that are being built in the AI era. If you think of AI, you immediately think models, tools, and you also think open source. Open source has been one of the most vulnerable areas of growth. What Scantist has done using AI is that they've expanded from only being able to scan a couple of million open source models to over 150 through their platform. This innovation that was born here right in Singapore is now being used everywhere in the globe. That's one example. The other example, of course, is the great work that we had done with regards to AI Singapore. Now, this is a notion of Gemini serves the world, but can I also create models right here that may serve certain localities? Voice exchanges, customer help desk, to the point I made earlier on dialect. The first time Vertex was ever used for developing a model was actually here in Singapore, and it was designed for the Sea Lion LLM that we built. And thank you for the partnership in delivering that. For us, this partnership is ultimately about ensuring Singaporean enterprises are benefiting from the innovation at a rapid pace. And I've spoken about the giants, the DBSs and so on, but we all know, and Ben mentioned this, that economies are not just born by the large, they're also ground up coming from entrepreneurs who are thinking of ideas. And it is my absolute pleasure to share with you that today we're announcing a program designed exactly for startups. We are calling it From Prompt to Prototype. What used to take many months, you can now prompt your way into an idea. You can prove this idea. You can secure fund it. You can test it at a fraction of the cost and a much rapid pace. In this program, you will get access to the tools. This is Gemini, AI Studio, Vertex, and so on. You get access to expertise. This is direct mentorship by experts who have built this. You get access to the support. So if you're not as technically comfortable or confident in AI yet, we will ensure that you ramp up through the programs we described earlier in one-on-one partnering. In the past, turning an idea really took a very long time, much investment, and a risk factor was almost exclusively at the disposal of those who are building. Today, we're sharing in this risk by enabling them. In closing, I would love to share and express our gratitude for the ability to partner, to develop the Singapore market, and to enable Singapore for the next generation of AI. A lot of this is grounded in technology, in expertise, in programs, but it's also grounded in our ability to build a digital economy that is safe and secure. So to talk more about that, please join me in welcoming my colleague, Laurie Richardson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is so wonderful to be back in Singapore. The last time I was here was in August 2024, and I had the privilege of meeting many of you, including Minister Teo. And it is so great to see so many familiar faces in the crowd today. Like others have said, AI has the power and the potential to improve people's lives for the better in a very tangible way, from how we treat disease to how we protect the planet. But that potential will only be realized if people actually trust the technology. This morning, we brought together nearly 100 experts at our Google Online Safety Dialogue to talk about what a responsible AI future looks like for Asia. There were so many experts, and the level of the conversation was so mature in that room. And it was great to discuss how we have to work together collectively to build AI that meets people's evolving needs and expectations. The takeaway for me from this morning was really simple. We need to collaborate even more intensively if we are to enable the most beneficial uses while protecting against the risks. As someone in the room said this morning, we have to learn fast, and that takes deep collaboration. At Google, our responsible approach starts long before a product ever reaches the public. It starts with firm guardrails. Our policies prohibit using our tools to create the most harmful content, like hate speech or content that facilitates activities that are going to cause real-world harm. But rules aren't enough. Our models also go through relentless testing. We put them through layers of rigorous risk assessments, scoring them against the toughest industry benchmarks. And we use our most powerful tool against itself. We use AI to red team our own models, intelligently searching for weaknesses so that we can fix them. And we combine this with our team of human experts who run unstructured red teaming and novel testing to find emerging risks in frontier models and new modalities. This combination of AI speed and expert human judgment is how we stay ahead of risks that we haven't even seen yet. We also want to do more to enable and empower users themselves. As generative AI becomes more widely used, the question comes up more often: can I trust what I'm seeing online? We want to be able to help users have the context and transparency that they need to answer that question with confidence. This means AI overviews in search, providing grounded answers with inline citations to verify information. Or on YouTube, using labels to disclose when realistic content has been created using AI. And sometimes you need an even more definitive way to verify what you're seeing. That's why late last year, we rolled out a feature for users that I am really excited about. Users can now verify AI-generated content directly right in the Gemini app. If you see an image online, you can upload it and simply ask, was this created with Google AI? You get a clear, confident answer. This is going to be so important, and it's also important to bring the ecosystem along to these shared practices. This capability is powered by SynthID, our pioneering digital watermarking technology that embeds an invisible signal directly into AI-generated content. Every image, audio, video, and text created by Google includes this signal. As AI advances, we need to continue to do even more to get ahead of bad actors and empower our users. This is why today I am proud to officially announce Google's establishment of an AI Center of Excellence in Singapore. This center is designed to advance global AI safety across all of our products. We are expanding our team of research scientists and security engineers here in Singapore to tackle the most critical emerging threats, from risks in frontier AI to strengthening the security of the wider ecosystem. Why Singapore? Because this nation has a unique combination of world-class talent, forward-thinking leadership, and a collaborative ecosystem. And that is really true. I've been here 3 times. Each time I've come away with an innovative solution to a very hard problem because of the collaboration that is possible here. This builds on our long-standing partnerships with the government of Singapore, from our work with the Cybersecurity Agency to Singapore's leadership in the global signal exchange that fights scams worldwide. By building alongside Singapore, we can create AI solutions that benefit the entire world and secure the future of AI together. The foundation of all innovation has to be trust, and we know that that needs to be earned over and over. From the safeguards that we build inside our models, to the research that we're advancing on global AI safety, the tools that let you verify what you see, Google is committed to making AI safe, helpful, and transparent for everyone. Thank you. I'll pass it over to Karen, who will share more about local initiatives that are creating a safer digital world for Singaporeans.
I didn't mean to make you all wait in suspense. Thank you, Laurie. I'm Karen. I head up the Platform and Devices Partnerships team here in APAC. I'm very happy to be here. What I'm seeing today has been fantastic. It's been inspiring to hear all the developments today. At the same time, it does give me a little bit of that warm and fuzzy feeling about all the tangible help that we're giving to Singaporeans. Whether we're driving innovations with businesses or rolling out health initiatives, there is one common thread, and that is we are building for privacy and safety at the core. The foundation of safety is our most important job, which is why I want to talk about that today, what we're doing right now to keep Singapore safe. We do this in two main ways. First, by building AI-powered protections into our products, and secondly, by working with partners to promote digital literacy for Singaporeans. Now, Google uses AI across its products to provide an automatic, invisible shield to keep your online experience safe by default. We do this by protecting Singaporeans from online dangers like, for example, fighting scams and keeping kids safe. Let's start with the matter of scams. It's a big problem, as you know. Just last year, Singaporeans in the first half of 2025 lost $450 million to scams. While Google has the technology and the teams to fight scammers, we know that we are at our strongest when we collaborate. 2 years ago, we partnered with the Cyber Security Agency of Singapore to launch enhanced fraud protection on Google Play Protect to block potentially risky app installs, especially site-loaded apps. To date, we have successfully blocked over 2.9 million high-risk app installations across 670,000 devices here in Singapore. That's millions of dollars saved and thousands of families protected. This success in Singapore has also paved the way for the rest of the world. We have now expanded this protection to 185 different countries, including Thailand, India, and Brazil. But the fight against scams is never over. As we know, the scammers are constantly evolving their tactics. To stay ahead, we're introducing developer verification. Starting from September this year, we will require all developers sharing apps on Android, whether it's on the Google Play Store or beyond, to register and verify their identities with Google. This builds on the success of our existing verification protocol on the Play Store. This has been super critical, if you think about it, in stopping the ability for developers to hide behind anonymity to continue perpetuating and spreading malware across the ecosystem. But more importantly, this creates one clear standard of accountability across the entire app ecosystem. Next, building a safer internet is about protecting the most vulnerable of society, our children. As digital natives, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they take a lot from the internet. They learn and they connect through the internet. And as an aunt to teenage nieces and nephew, and the fun parent to a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, I also know there's a lot of wonder and discovery that they find on the internet. However, we all know as well that there is inherent risk in them getting exposed to inappropriate content. We have invested heavily in various age-appropriate products that align with kids and teenagers across their stages of development and needs. But we also know that for parents, just managing these safety controls and keeping track of their activities can be very overwhelming. To help, we have provided an added layer of support. Just last week, we started rolling out our age assurance protocol across our products for users in Singapore, the first country in Southeast Asia to do this. This means our systems will now automatically build that added layer of guardrails to ensure that every young person has an age-appropriate experience across our products online. Here's how it works. When we estimate that a Google account belongs to someone who is 18 or below 18, This age-appropriate experience gets switched on by default. These include safe search to filter explicit content. It prevents access to apps that are restricted to adults on Google Play. And it enables digital well-being tools like take-a-break reminders and safeguards to content recommendations for the youth on YouTube. Now, this is done by a machine learning model that is able to estimate the age of a user if they're potentially under 18 by looking through their signals and associated with that account, like what they're viewing on content and the kind of sites that they visit. It's an automatic layer of protection designed to give parents more peace of mind. Shall we see what this looks like for families? Let's roll the tape, please.
I don't know how many times I've checked and rechecked just to make sure everything here was safe for you. I was always trying to stay one step ahead of anything that could hurt you. Every screw I tightened, every guard I installed, every danger I tried to predict, that was just my way of slowing down a world that's changing as you grow. Every year brought new risks, new things I couldn't always see coming. I was always watching out for the next thing that could hurt you. But I missed one. The tablet that was mine that I let you use, even if I had some safeguards on. Thankfully, someone is looking out for you. As you learn to find your own way, and the world opens up to you. I can breathe easier knowing that when you're online, you're protected even when I'm not watching. Especially when I'm not watching.
Now, this adds to our existing tools like Family Link and YouTube supervised experiences. And they're designed to help parents set digital ground rules for your kids. And to give parents even more flexibility, we've recently added new controls to YouTube Shorts, allowing you to limit scrolling time, or, if you like, pause access entirely. Next, let's look at digital literacy. We all want to live in a resilient community where our people are empowered with the tools and the knowledge to be able to fight any online dangers that they come across. But achieving that is complex and requires a collective effort. That's why we're incredibly grateful for all the partnerships that we've formed with many of you here in this room to get this right. For example, you working? With Bamboo Builders, we've helped 20,000 underserved youth and seniors learn how to combat online threats, like scams. With the IMDA and the Media Literacy Council, our Be Internet Awesome program has taught 220,000 Singaporeans, that's double our original target, to be smart and kind online. And through our YouTube Creators for Impact program, we've given voices like Naomi Neo and Mathilda Huang the ability to tackle tough issues and address things like misinformation, cyberbullying, harassment online, and mental health. Our work with these partners and many others is how we build a safer Singapore together. Ensuring the internet is a safe space is extremely important, and getting it right in the age of AI means local context and expertise is needed. This is why we're investing here, to ensure that AI is developed responsibly in Singapore for Singapore. Through our partnerships with the government and everyone in this room, we can build a safer, more positive digital future for every Singaporean. Thank you.
Once again, a huge thank you to Anat, Ben, Mo, Laurie, and Karen for sharing about Google's investments to Singapore. We have announced 10 new initiatives, all underpinned by our expansion of the R&D footprint in Singapore. And this is all to build a future that is beneficial for society, robust for the economy, empowering for the workforce, and safer for all. And now it is my honor to invite the Minister for Digital Development and Information, Mrs. Josephine Teo, on stage to give her remarks. Minister, please.
Afternoon, colleagues and friends. Thank you to Google for inviting me back again for the second edition of Google and for Singapore. Dr. Sinha, Excellency, Ambassador to Singapore, I've visited Google many more times than you. But I have to tell you that as many times as I've been here, each visit brings new surprises, each interaction with the very dynamic Google team in Singapore encourages me more that there is a greater impact that we can create together. How about another round of applause for all the wonderful presentations by the team here. In the course of my work, I'm often asked, how does Singapore think about digital development? And what are your plans for AI? Because certainly in the current period, the most exciting things that are happening in the technology world include AI. And in just, I think, 48 hours on Thursday, around this time, the Prime Minister, whose picture you saw at least twice, who is also our finance minister, he is going to be delivering the budget statement. And what I can share with you without giving too much away is that there are some very significant announcements that concern AI, particularly in the area of how we will promote, accelerate its adoption in industry, amongst enterprises and within the workforce. So I think in Singapore, we like to say akan datang. It means it's coming. Therefore, just another 48 hours or so. But I think it is useful for us to ground all the efforts that we are making in AI on our broader approach to digital development. There is a reason why we, chose to think about it as digital development instead of digital technologies or digital advancement. In fact, the presentation you just heard across the 4 different pillars, they quite accurately capture the breadth that we think about when we ask ourselves, what should we want to see in terms of the outcomes of our efforts in digital development? It's not just having a vibrant digital economy. It's also about having a cohesive and stable digital society where people, communities can still live harmoniously with one another. And that's not always a given. It's about digital security, how comprehensive it is, how we are able to trust the day-to-day interactions that we have online with other individuals, with systems, with services that are being delivered to us digitally. It's, I think, also importantly for us as policymakers, a challenge, how we can ourselves be progressive as a digital government, not laggards, but leaders in the adoption of the most advanced tools available as a way of improving the quality of our delivery to our citizens, but also as a way of encouraging them to believe that technology can be a force for good. Of course, it's also very important for us as a government to know exactly how the technology operates. If we didn't, we would have very little credibility, and we would also be quite circumscribed in the way we think about the right way to govern and when regulations make sense and when they don't. So This is the broader thinking that we have when we talk about digital development. But if you then unpack it and say, what are the different components, what are the different pillars that go into it? There are a couple. The first is that ultimately, everything that happens in the online world, everything that involves a digital interaction, it has to be grounded in some form of infrastructure, and there is a physics associated with it. There is only so much you can push through the digital pipelines. And unless you invest in growing the infrastructure. And what that means involves putting in place not just the data centers, but also in terms of how we build up the network, whether it is a mobile network or a broadband network, and in terms of how we think about the submarine cables that connect us to other countries, other regions, and globally. So all of this digital infrastructure takes years of planning because they don't materialize overnight. And in our context right now, even though we have, by way of data center capacity, one of the densest relative to our population, relative to our GDP, we are still creating headroom. But we want to do it in a responsible way. We want to do it in a way that is environmentally sustainable. What that means is greener data centers, and that essentially boils down to two things. One, data centers that use less energy, or data centers that use greener energy. But beyond that, we think that there is also the opportunity to push the boundaries. We are very interested in, for example, chips can be made to work effectively using less energy. We're even asking ourselves, can algorithms be written in a greener way? So if you think about it, there is a lot of scope, not just in terms of putting in more dollars to build up the data center capacity, but also in pushing the boundaries of innovation that could eventually benefit not just Singapore, but many other places that are energy constrained around the world. That's really just in the infrastructure pillar. And you see that, whether today or on other occasions, our interactions with our colleagues and our friends in Google, there are many discussions that go down to those levels of sophistication. And I'm glad to say that those conversations are continuing. Yet another area that is important in digital development is in terms of building capabilities. And we think of capabilities in a few areas. There is capabilities at the workforce level. And some of the programs that were highlighted today speak to the importance of ensuring that individuals have the confidence and they have the capacity to use AI tools and to think about transforming their own work processes as well as their domains with the power that AI brings to them. But individual capability development is only one part of it. It is quite frustrating for individuals who feel that they are AI enabled to then go back to their employment contracts and to their workplaces only to find that no one else is interested, least of all the bosses, and the capacity then to bring their individual skills into the workplace and transform it into a higher order capability that is lacking. So we also believe that there must be a way for us to make the two work together. Thirdly, there is capabilities development at the industry level, also at the government level. And for that, we often need to crowd in our resources and our colleagues in the research and development community, as well as those amongst our technical teams, our technology teams working within the government. And here again, I think there are many exciting areas that Google and Singapore can partner together. A few months ago, when Thomas Kurian was in Singapore, we had talked about how Singapore's experimentation with using agents and including starting to use Google Agent Space. That is a good foundation, and we are continuing to try and push the boundaries. I'm therefore delighted with Mo's announcement, one of the 10, that you are going to build up the engineering center. And the reason is because it's theoretical when we talk about the potential of AI agents. You have to be able to put it into production. You have to be able to find the kinks. You have to be able to architect in a way that feels like you can count on it, especially when the government interacts with so many members of the public. A point of failure will almost always create too much excitement. And we want to do our best to try and ensure that whatever is put out is properly tested and has been built, with all the necessary safeguards. So that's really in the area of capabilities. There are 3 other areas. I don't go into them in great detail, but just to say that in all those areas, there are also very good partnerships with Google. For example, what Karen just described is our whole approach to regulations and legislation. In governance, there will sometimes be a need for us to do so. However, the approach that we take in Singapore, especially when it comes to dealing with the impacts of technology, is first to ask whether existing laws and regulations already enable us to deal with their outcomes that may not be so helpful or desirable for society, before we think about whether new laws or regulations need to be added. And in this process, the conversations that we have with companies like yourselves makes us more thoughtful about what are the right things to do. And we want to thank you for continuously engaging with us and enabling us to make more meaningful interventions when it's necessary to do so. One other area is in terms of crowding in the entire community, accepting the fact that when it comes to technology developments, it's very often the case that the answers lie in more than one entity. And the value is in bringing people together, allowing them to offer their perspectives, allowing them to suggest what are the right solutions to bring to bear. And that is another area that we enjoy very much working with Google. There is just one final area I wanted to touch on and also to share with Google as an opportunity for the future. We believe very much that whatever it is that we create in Singapore goes so much further when others get a chance to benefit from them. And that is why some years ago, when we decided to refresh our national AI strategy, we decided that it should be AI for the public good, but not just for Singapore, also for the world. And that gives me a great sense of hope, especially when I see that some of the projects that we are working on, MedGemma is a very good example. What we're trying to do with Google DeepMind is another very good example of how we can stretch the potential further. On a regular basis, I interact with my colleagues around the world. For example, next Wednesday, I head to New Delhi for the AI Impact Summit. In May, Singapore itself hosts the Asia Tech Summit, where we bring together our colleagues in order to discuss the issues that matter in terms of technology development. And of course, in the current time frame, AI is of greatest interest. I would also like to suggest to Google to think about how the products, the services, the innovations that you are creating in Singapore can be showcased through the world, through these platforms, some that take place in Singapore, others that because Singapore participates in, we're very happy to also share the exciting developments that have taken place here. In 2027, which is, I think, just 11 months away, Singapore chairs the Association for Southeast Nations annual meetings. There will be many developments in the ASEAN domain that will be relevant to you too. For example, ASEAN member states are coming together on a digital economy agreement. Some of these elements of this framework agreement, I think, will have great opportunities presented to companies like Google, because whilst you are anchored in Singapore, your markets certainly extend beyond here, and there is also tremendous interest in the innovations that you can equally bring to the other markets. So this invitation is open to you. I look forward to all the future exchanges that we will have across the many different domains and pillars. Congratulations on all the areas that you have advanced and made progress on. I have every confidence that the next time I visit, and Dr. Sinha, you are very welcome to join me the next time I visit, there will be more innovations that they are introducing and more exciting developments. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, Minister Teo, for your remarks. May I please invite you to remain on stage? Thank you, Minister Teo. So we are incredibly excited about the future that we're building in Singapore. Across 19 years of partnership, Google is ready to journey with the country through this next chapter and to weave AI into the very fabric of this nation. Together, we are empowering Singaporeans today for tomorrow, from Singapore to the world. Now, I'd like to invite our speakers, Anat, Ben, Mo, Karen, and Laurie, as well as Sanjay Gupta, President of Google Asia Pacific, to join us on stage for the launch moment. I'd like to invite our media friends at the front for this photo opportunity as well. Great, I think we're all set. On the count of 3, please press the button on the pedestal for this special moment. 1, 2, 3. Smile for the camera. Can we all take a group photo, please? Beautiful smiles, everyone. Thank you, Minister, for your time. Thank you, speakers, for being on stage with us as well. To those on the live stream, thank you for joining us today.